All right, let's talk about learning German verbs. You've seen those giant lists, right? The 100 most common verbs. Honestly, who has time to just memorize a list like that? So today, we're going to do something way more useful. We're going to build a core toolkit of the most essential verbs, the ones that are going to unlock real, actual conversations in German. Yeah, 100 verbs. I know, that number can sound pretty scary. It just brings to mind this huge mountain of flashcards you have to climb. But what if I told you there's a much, much smarter way to do this? You know, it all comes down to the 80-20 rule. The real secret here isn't about learning 100 verbs equally. It's about mastering the vital few, that 20% that you're going to use for 80% of everything you say. So in this explainer, we're focusing only on those heavy hitters. We're not just checking off a list, we're building a powerful toolkit. So, you ready to start building that toolkit? Let's kick things off with the absolute non-negotiable essentials. I'm talking about the verbs that are the very foundation of pretty much every single sentence you're ever going to say or hear. Right at the very top, you've got sein, to be, and haben, to have. I mean, you literally cannot get more fundamental than these two. Think about it. Ich bin müde isn't just words. It's I am tired. And ich habe Zeit is I have time. Your state of being and what you possess. These two are the great pillars of the entire language. Okay, next up are what I like to call the super helpers. These are the modal verbs, and they are fantastic. They basically act like power-ups for your other verbs, giving you this huge range of expression. They let you add all these cool layers of meaning like ability, desire, or even obligation. And right here, you can see that power in action. You don't just help, you can ask if someone can help. Kannst du mir helfen? You don't just go, you can say that you absolutely must go. Wir müssen jetzt gehen. Or you can express exactly what you want. Ich will ein Stück Kuchen. Do you see how much more you can say with just these few verbs? It's a total game changer. Okay. Let's get moving with our next section, verbs of motion and position. This is all about how you describe where things are and, how they get from point A to point B. And we're also going to clear up a couple of really common, kind of tricky spots for anyone learning German. First up, the basics. You use gehen when you're going on foot, like ich gehe zur Arbeit. You kommen when you come, and you fahren anytime you go by a vehicle like a car or a train. Then you've got your verbs for staying put, stehen for standing, and bleiben for staying. They're simple, direct, and totally essential. Now for a classic German puzzle, liegen versus legen. Okay, here's the key to getting this right forever. Liegen describes a state. It's about where something is. Das Buch liegt auf dem Tisch means the book is lying on the table. It's just there. But legen, that's the action of putting it there. Leg das Buch auf den Tisch is an order. Lay the book on the table. See? It's all about state versus action. And guess what? It is the exact same logic for this second tricky pair. Sitzen and setzen. Sitzen is the state of being seated. Ich sitze auf dem Stuhl means I am sitting on the chair. But setzen is the action of putting something, or yourself, down. So when someone tells you, setz dich bitte, what they're really saying is, set yourself, please. Once you get that little pattern, it all just clicks into place. All right, so we've covered being, having, and moving around. Now let's get inside our heads a little bit and explore the verbs that you absolutely need to express what you're thinking and to communicate clearly with other people. I mean, could there be a more fundamental question for communication than this one? Was hast du gesagt? What did you say? This one phrase, which you will hear and use all the time, perfectly sets the stage for all the verbs of speaking and understanding that we're about to jump into. So, the crucial thing here is knowing which tool to grab from your toolkit. You sagen something specific, you sprechen a language. You fragen a question, you erzählen a story, you erklären a concept, and then, hopefully at the end of all that, you verstehen, you understand. Each one has its own special job in a conversation. Oh yeah, here's another one of those classic mix-ups that can trip people up. Wissen versus kennen. So wissen is for knowing facts, knowing information. Like, weißt du die Antwort? Do you know the answer?
But kennen is for when you're familiar with a person, a place, or a thing. Kennst du ihn? Do you know him? You can't wissen a person in German. It's a simple little rule, but it is so, so important.
And of course, we need verbs for our inner world, right? Ich denke oft an dich. I often think of you. This is the world of denken, to think, glauben, to believe, and meinen, to mean or to have an opinion. This is how you share what's really on your mind.
So let's just pull all of this together for a second. You haven't just learned a handful of random verbs. You've actually unlocked a whole set of German superpowers. No, really, think about it. You can now express your needs and wants. You can talk about what you can do and what you have to do. You can describe where you are and where you're going. And most importantly, you can ask questions and actually share your thoughts. That's huge. This is not a list of 100 verbs anymore. What you have now is a functional, powerful toolkit for real communication. We focused on the most critical, high-impact verbs that are going to get you speaking and understanding right from day one. So really, the only question left is the one right here on the screen. You've got the toolkit. What are you going to say first?